What is up, everybody, and welcome back to Lesser Athletes. My name is Chadwell, and today, like always, an interesting video for you here on the channel. Today are my hot take men's matches for WrestleMania 42. So, thinking of video ideas, I decided to do a video where basically I have my matches that I think are going to happen at WWE WrestleMania Vegas, WrestleMania 42. But I started thinking, what are some matches that could realistically happen, but it's more of a hot take? Like, there's obviously some real. I'm not going to say we're going to have Bronson Reed as champion going against Austin Theory for the WrestleMania. Yeah, that's a pretty big hot take. There's going to be some realism. There's it's just realistic matches that we could see, but there is some hot take potential throwing in there. We're going to talk about it. Mostly, I think it's only the men's championship matches, main titles like the world title and the WWE Undisputed. I don't know why I couldn't think of it. But I'm thinking of doing another video for the IC in the US. For the women's side, it is really just the IC, the world title, and the WWE title. Because I think the IC title is, booked well. The US title, no. And I think the IC title right now is in a little different state. So we'll see on that. And then the US titles, we don't know who's going to probably be the holders at WrestleMania. So let's get started. In my women's matches that I'm going to do in the future, I'm going to give you what I think is going to happen beforehand. Today, we're not going to do that because it's going to kind of obviously give away some ideas that I might potentially have. So we are going to go, though, with first starting off with all the hot take matches. Now I'll talk about what I think is going to happen. Hopefully I don't spoil it, but probably will. So in this scenario, CM Punk is still the champion. Now, I believe that there is a pretty good chance this happens with CM Punk becoming the champion. The whole thing with CM Punk, though, is who's going to be the person to go against CM Punk at WrestleMania. And there's a lot of different options. But let's start off with the hot takes video talking about AJ Styles potentially being the one to go against CM Punk, which I think is kind of realistic, but a hot. AJ Styles is obviously going to have a retirement tour, and there's going to be something with him having crazy matches, important matches from here on out. I would say AJ Styles going against CM Punk has to happen. Now, I think for the world title makes a lot of sense. I think it just truthfully makes sense that it should be that, so AJ Styles has something to go for. Maybe it's just a match between the two because they want to have a good match. But I believe in AJ Styles could win a Royal Rumble or Elimination Chamber. And I think Elimination Chamber especially, you set up CM Punk, AJ Styles, and you see these two legends go against in a big match, and maybe that's where AJ Styles wins, so then he can have somewhat of a retirement tour with that title, because I think we all would want to see AJ Styles with that title still. So, hot take here, AJ Styles winning the title off of CM Punk at WrestleMania. Let's continue talking about CM Punk. I do believe CM Punk, again, has a pretty good chance. Now, who's another really hot take opponent, in my opinion? Well, this one, shocked we haven't seen it yet, and it was a lot, well, we kind of did, but it's a lot of people thought we were going to already see this before. Especially after Survivor Series last year, we thought Roman Reigns was going to be the one to go against the CM Punk at WrestleMania. Well, what if instead of them waiting a full year to have Roman versus Seth at WrestleMania from the triple threat, maybe they go a different route. Maybe it's CM Punk versus Roman Reigns. Maybe that's the route they go. Now, I do think that this could happen, but I could see it happening maybe without the title. I thought it's kind of harder to see it without the title. Maybe there's just some animosity between the two and something happens. I feel like at this point, though, it's hard. And I mean, really, it's hard to see this match happen because you have to think with the vision, how do these two go against each other and not go for the vision? Like, maybe they just can't work with each other. And I think it made more sense to happen at WrestleMania. I mean, CM Punk, Roman Reigns, they had the whole thing with Paul Heyman. It just made sense. Doesn't anymore. And I think with Paul Heyman out the picture, maybe the two just don't like each other. Maybe there's something with that happens and then they just have a match. Again, hard to see, but I don't really see this happening, but still it's a hot take to mention. Talking about Roman Reigns, there's a lot of opponents that I could see Roman Reigns potentially having, and there's some hot takes about it. Jey Uso and Jimmy Uso were people that I really thought could happen. I still going to keep predicting that. That's my hot take for that. But let's go a different route. What if CM Punk doesn't have the title? What if someone else has the title? I think there's a legitimate chance that this is the match for WrestleMania. I see a world that they go okay, CM Punk, you're going to hold on to this title, but then it's like, who does CM Punk go against? Maybe it is AJ Styles, but I think he would want to go for the Vision, so it's hard to see that truthfully. I think, to be honest with you, if they decide to take the title off of CM Punk at Elimination Chamber, Royal Rumble, and they go a different route with Braun Breaker having the title, maybe you throw CM Punk in here. I don't know. If you decide for Braun Breaker to have the title, who should he go against at WrestleMania? To be honest with you, if he's champion, I think it is Roman Reigns. It's hard to say that Braun Breaker is going to win the title before WrestleMania, in my opinion, because it just doesn't feel like a WWE thing to do. I think it is going to be Braun Breaker winning at WrestleMania through the Royal Rumble, and then you have Braun Breaker versus CM Punk. But if he would be champion before, I think this is the match, because this is a night one main event by far. This is a main event for maybe even night two. You have the whole vision, the future with Roman Reigns. It could be very poetic if Seth Rollins would return at WrestleMania and he has this, oh my God, you know what I just realized? Braun Breaker versus Roman Reigns, and Seth Rollins returns and he has the decision who to screw over, and he decides to screw over Braun Breaker, and then you have that feud happening, but he still let Roman Reigns win the championship. Would be a crazy, like, full face turn for Seth Rollins, but then maybe there's still some animosity obviously there, but it's just like he won't let Braun Breaker win. There could be something there, and I really do believe that there is something there that's pretty poetic. It's like how Roman with Cody and Solo, but like Roman and Seth hate each other, so they'd be kind of crazier. Yeah, I see this happening though if Braun Breaker won the title before. So let's kind of stay on Braun Breaker. Let's say Braun Breaker still has his championship. I feel like if he had the championship, who does he go against that makes sense? I feel like it's not a rematch against CM Punk. Maybe CM Punk's thrown in there in some sense. I don't see that. Who does he go against? A crazy one that I kind of hope doesn't happen, but I could see it, is, and it could happen without a title as well, but a lot of this whole video is with titles, Braun Breaker versus Brock Lesnar. And I sadly see this happening. Same thing I said for Roman, but I would actually like a Roman Reigns one better, is Braun Breaker versus Brock Lesnar, with Braun Breaker keeping his title. Two Paul Heyman guys going against each other. Maybe Paul Heyman turns on Brock Lesnar, but I think Brock Lesnar should stay a heel for him fully being here now. And I think Braun Breaker should win ultimately against a Brock Lesnar. Now, I don't want this to happen. I really don't. It makes sense to happen though. Just don't. Let me know. No, please don't. I would rather a Brock Lesnar go against a Gunther or a Bronson Reed, to be honest with you, at WrestleMania. But again, this is a match that we're talking about hot takes here. If Braun Breaker's champion, I could see it. If he's not champion, I could see it. This is like a match that I do really see happening. Again, talking about Braun Breaker with his championship, it kind of makes me wonder if people would win Elimination Chamber or Royal Rumble, who would Braun Breaker go against? Obviously, we have Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns. There's one name that I keep thinking, if he doesn't have the IC title, if he doesn't have anything at all, who's the one that's going to probably, retire John Cena? What does he do after that? And that's Gunther. And I do think Braun Breaker versus Gunther is a main event in the future where you have maybe more of a face Braun Breaker. Maybe not. Maybe it is a heel Braun Breaker. I don't think you'll have ever a face Gunther. Maybe. I mean, the fans like Gunther. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like Braun Breaker versus Gunther just makes so much sense to happen. I just don't think this is the year it'll happen. Like, I think, to be honest with you, we're going to look at in the future this to happen, like maybe 44, 43, it could happen. I feel like they will probably go a different route on that end with more legends being involved. But Braun Breaker versus Gunther feels like it could happen. Again, it feels like it's a little too early for what they could do. Also, because they are both heels, I think they both can go different ways with different baby faces. Doesn't make too much sense. The next one, though, we're going to still talk about Gunther because I think Gunther could go a different route if he would win Elimination Chamber Royal Rumble, and that is Cody Rhodes. I really do believe that out of all this whole entire video, this is my biggest hot take I have so far. Not maybe biggest hot take. This is the biggest hot take that I truly believe in. That's probably the best way to say it. I feel like we are pretty close to this happening. I mean, Gunther, I feel like when he comes back, should go after that undisputed title. I think he should be fully done with the world title. I feel like Gunther retiring to John Cena, he will have so much momentum. Again, it just depends on the IC title reign. I feel like this is a good chance to happen. It just feels like at this point that Gunther having that undisputed title needs to happen sooner rather than later. And I really do believe a Cody Rhodes beating a Cody Rhodes that beat him back in Crown Jewel 2024 could make sense. It's just the fact of so many factors happening, but if there's no IC title, if there's plans with Brock Lesnar somewhere else, Gunther versus Cody Rhodes should happen. My last match that I'll talk about before I go into my realistic predictions pretty fast is going to be with Cody Rhodes. Now, I think that there is a pretty good chance we get a triple threat with Randy Orton. Now, I'm not going to say the triple threat with Drew McIntyre because it kind of goes off my realistic predictions, so just wait for a second. I think a crazy hot take we could have here is a mix of a storyline from last year. I don't think that we'll get this. Obviously, it's a hot take, but just in case, I'm going to predict this. Obviously, we had somebody previously be injured and don't know when he's going to come back. I think if we go with the storyline of Randy Orton coming back and it's Cody as a babyface going against a heel Randy Orton, and then we have someone that interferes, but he still is super pissed off at Cody, but he's kind of that tweener role, I think it could work. And the person I'm talking about is Kevin Owens. Now, could the WrestleMania match be a triple threat between the three where it's Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton, and Kevin Owens, something that we thought could we see last year? I feel like if you're trying to move away from Drew McIntyre, you're trying to keep Randy Orton, but keep it fresh, and Kevin Owens is available, and Chris Jericho is with another feud, I think this is the way you go, because I think it would have a babyface Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton who's likely a heel, Kevin Owens who's coming back with probably a big pop that's probably been around with fans. I think if anything, he will probably have animosity to Cody Rhodes for being the one that probably hurt his neck. You could say that. Then you have Randy Orton who he absolutely hated in this scenario, and he's trying to stop Randy Orton from being super, super evil. Again, I just feel like it makes sense for a triple threat match to happen, and I would love this to happen. Let's go into my realistic predictions. I do believe, though, that it will be CM Punk versus Braun Breaker at WrestleMania, with Braun Breaker winning the Royal Rumble. I think that's the route they go. I think that's the route they should go, and it would make sense for Braun Breaker to win. So, obviously, previous stuff makes more sense. My last one that I will leave you with the Cody Rhodes scenario is really dependent on how they book it and how it goes. How would they do it is a big question mark. I feel like you go with Drew McIntyre having some scene in this WWE scene. I think we will have Drew McIntyre dethroning Cody Rhodes before Mania. I think we'll have a Randy Orton to go against a Drew McIntyre, but they're not going to leave Cody Rhodes out of the title scene. So we still have Cody Rhodes here, and I think that makes a lot of sense. But we have the ever-looming question of who took out Jacob Fatu. I think they could go with a storyline with either Jacob Fatu doesn't know who took him out, or they go with Randy Orton earned a title shot. He's going to try and go for Drew McIntyre that just cheated to beat a Cody Rhodes who does deserve him there. And then they're like deserve to go for a Drew McIntyre or whatever. And then we're going to have the ever-looming presence of Jacob Fatu that says, Randy Orton took me out. This is not fair. He took months away from my career. I'm going to go after Randy Orton. And somehow, some way, we get to the fatal four-way that I ultimately am going to predict. I know this is crazy, but again, what I said, did I say that in this video? I swear I did. Yeah, what I said in this video, the night 1, night 2 main event, I feel like there has to be some multi-man match to be involved with. This is what I see. I see this happening, so it makes... Or wait, maybe I didn't say in this video. I just recorded another video right before. I just think night 2, to have a real night 2 main event, has to feel powerful, since we've already seen, Cody Gunther. We've already seen... Oh, yeah, that was another video. We've already seen Randy Cody. We've already seen Drew Cody. For night 2 to be with the Undisputed title, we have to see a multi-man match, I feel like. And this would be a crazy match. Because the previous main events we've had is Cody Roman. Even Roman Brock. And then we had John Cena's retirement tour with Cody. That's main event night 2 worthy. Multi-man match, I feel like, has to happen for night 2 to happen. So this is my predictions. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.